What do I A/B test in my email experience? This is a question that lately I've been getting a lot, and I would like to address it on this session. So there are five elements that you can A/B test in your email experience. So welcome to the Let Experience podcast. This is the email edition, and today it's all about A/B testing. So what are these five elements that you can A/B test in your email experience? So the first one is the subject line. So the subject line now, this is the first line that appears in the inbox of your subscriber. So it is mostly in bold. The second thing you can test is the preview text of your email. So the preview text is the line of text that appears just below your subject line. So when your email get in the inbox of your subscriber, so the preview text is the text that just below the subject line. So this is the line that is related to that email, but it is not bolded. So the subject line is bolded, but the the preview text is in normal font, so it is not bolded. It's just in the normal font. The third thing that you can embed in your email is your email content. So email content now this now depends on how the subscriber is engaging on your email. So you have to embed and now find out what kind of content they interact with the most and what length of email they tend to interact with the most. Now this helps you in knowing what to include in your email to sending to that specific segment and how to present that message to your subscribers. The fourth way that you be test your email experience is your call to actions. So your call to actions there are three ways that you can be test your call to action. So the first one is by by the text you write in your call to action. So you can test like for example if by now will work better or grab your elegant dress will work better. So you can maybe test like what you are writing in that CTA and what resonates more with your subscriber. The second way you can maybe test it through the color of your CTA button. So this is now there are different colors that you can use in a CTA button depending on what is the purpose of that email that you are sending. So depending on the purpose that you have for that specific email, your the CTA button should reflect that intention. On the other side, you can use a CTA button that is branded. So this is a CTA button that it's based on the colors of your brand. So there you can go two ways. So you can either use the CTA button with a color which is specific for the specific intended action you expect from that subscriber. On the other hand, you can use a branded CTA button. So this will only be in the colors. So this will be uniform in all your emails and will only be in the same colors, in the colors that reflect your brand. Third way to just to a CTA button is by the size of your CTA button. So there are different sizes. So there are CTA buttons which cover the whole email, and then there are CTA buttons which are have the email, the CTA buttons which are located at the center. So this can be so you can test this and see which one works better. So like now for example, what we have noticed in our in the emails that are optimized for mobile is that the CTA button that covers the whole email like from this side of the phone to the other side of the phone. So it's the CTA button that covers all the whole of that place works better than a CTA button that is only in the center of the email. So, but for you, you can test and now you find out what works for you. The final thing about A/B testing, so number five now is that the design of your email. So the design now this can come in different ways. So the first one is when you're using a plain email. So yeah, your design will be about the pattern that you create with your text. And then on the other side, you have the image heavy email. So on this side now, you can test with the colors, with the contrast, and now you can see what works and what doesn't work. So those are the five ways that you can A/B test your email. So the first one is your subject line. The second one is your preview text. The third one is your email content. The fourth one is your CTA button, and the fifth one is your email design. And now I would like to add a bonus test that you can do with your emails. And now this is now in terms of timing of your emails. So this one now, so now it mostly you monitor your subscribers and now you look at when they open their emails, when they mostly open your emails. And now what you want to do is when you have noticed that maybe they open the emails in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, or at midnight. So you want to make sure that now when you know the time that they mostly engage with your emails, you want to send emails that will be closer to that time that they mostly engage with your emails. So that's the best way to make sure that someone sees your emails and they now engage with your email. So those are the there were five, but now there are six of them. There are six ways that you can A/B test your email campaign. And now the key to A/B testing is that only focus on testing one element at a time. So if you are testing the subject line, that tweak the subject line alone. Don't tweak anything else. If you are testing the preview text, only tweak the preview text alone. Leave everything else the same way. If you are testing the CTA button, only test the CTA button. Make sure the subject line is the same, preview text is the same, email content is the same, and now only the call to action button will be the one that will be tested. So yeah, you want to make sure that if there's going to be a difference, you know exactly what that difference is associated with. So that is why you have to test only one element. So when you look at those six elements, so when you look at your subject line, your preview text, email content, your call to action button, your email design, and the timing of your emails, you want to test only one thing at a time so that you can know what works and what doesn't work without finding yourself in a situation whereby you are not sure what worked or what didn't work. So you want to only test one element, one of those six elements at a time, so that you know what works and you can be so clear on what works and what doesn't work. So the second thing and the final thing about A/B testing is that make sure that there is a significant difference between your control and your variant. So don't want to make changes based on insignificant differences. So for example, for us, what to consider making a change to now using the variant, the difference has to be above 10%. So a difference of above 10%. So for example, if now we have noticed that the subject line now, let's say it is the subject line we are testing. So if we notice that the control as a the control the control subject line is contributing to only 40% of our emails being open and engaged with. Then on the other side, we notice that the parent subject line has 60% open rate and engagement rate. So that is a change that now we can make now, because now it is significant in that the difference is so large that it makes sense. So it is about only making changes that have a significant basis to it. So that's all about a testing for today, and I'll see you in the next session. So bye bye, KDM.